And the reply was, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. And that's the way we look at our holidays. The holidays are made for us. They're ours. We do what we want to, depending we feel we can. But we couldn't have this prayer if we didn't have the old prayer to build on. You see what I'm saying? So that's what makes us one people. And unfortunately, the idea of humanistic Judaism is much like the Gentile idea. But we're making the same Trinitarian except we have our belief. You know, their beliefs and our beliefs are I think for us, our tradition becomes more cerebral. You know, it appeals to us as we get older. Younger people, they're not thinking about these higher questions. So I'm glad to see we do have a few young people here. And so that you will take what you can from us, we have to offer, and wherever else you go, you might decide you want to go to a movement, go to reform, conservative, it's fine, it's called the whole piece, you know, and we, this is ours. So, is that kind of answer your question? No? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, we have to, if you ever have any questions, give me my card, you can call me, we can spend hours on the phone, we can talk about it. But you'll see from this book, once you get through the service, you'll see exactly what it is, who we are and how we are. We're open to everything, open to gender, open to everything. It's all part of the wonderful, the beautiful world that we live in. We're all part of it. Okay? How are we doing? Are we ready to start? Okay. So does everybody have a booklet? And a lot of the songs that you see are like Hebrew school songs. so you know them if you've ever gone to Hebrew school. If not, they're easy enough to know. And so we will start on page 1.
Rabbi?
Yeah. Oh, do we have more books?
Judy,
Green tablecloth. Yeah, the yellow.
Yeah, the yellow booklets. Yellow
Anybody else?
So, believe it or not, almost every part of this book has a correspondence in the Orthodox prayer. We just interpret it a little bit. Okay, so we'll start on page 1, and we will sing Avenu Shalom. So we'll do this as a call and response. So I'll be the reader, you can be the communicator. And if we get up to a part where it calls for somebody to read, if I say, does anybody want to read? And you do want to read, just raise your hand and you can read. If you don't, then I'll read. But I'd like to, involve as many people as want to be involved. So begin the cycle anew, turn and grow. Back to beginnings, that we may be renewed, strengthened, refreshed. Start from the waking that offers change. Rise from waking to move forward. Opening the door of our community. May the door of our community be wide enough to receive all who want to celebrate the joys of Jewish family ties, all who hunger for love, and all who are lonely for fellowship. May our community love all those who cares for thanks to May the door of our community be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, jealousy and envy. May the door be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. We gather together as one Jewish family this evening to commemorate the beginning of the New Year festival. Rosh Hashanah, festival Rosh Hashanah, to reflect on the past year, to proclaim our responsibility for our actions and ourselves and to society. Our presence here today affirms our connection to the Jewish people, whether through birth, choice, or association. We are here to share with family and friends and community the significance of this day, first day of Tishrei, the beginning of the New Year festival. Let us open our hearts and our doors to all those who wish to accompany us on our journey. Behold how good and pleasant it is for people to come together, to live together in harmony and in peace. That's from Psalm 133, and we will sing Kine Matov. Okay, so now we will light our candles.
Do you want me to read it first, or light first, or you're going
Light
to?
and we'll read it.
Oh, okay, good.
So rise up, shine, for your light is here. As we lifted our spirits one way, as we light our candles. And let's say the blessing together. Baruch Haor, Baruch Haor, Baruch Haor, Rosh Hashanah. Radiant is the light of the world. Radiant is the light of Jesus. Radiant is the light. So this service has a little song sheet in the back. So if you go to page 35 in the back of the book, That's where the songs start. And we're going to sing Eifo Ori. That is song number 3 on page 35. This song was written by Rabbi, and it's kind of the anthem of the humanistic movement. Where is my light? My light is in me. Where is my hope? My hope is in me. Where is my strength? My strength is in me and in you. All of us, and also in you. So we'll play So we proclaim the new year. This is from the book of Numbers. In the 7th month, on the first day of the month, you are to have a holy convocation. Do not do any kind of ordinary work. It is a day of blowing the shofar for you. Everybody? Sound the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. Oh, tell friends of peace because this is the law. We usher in this new year 5784, numbered according to the ancient reckoning of our people. Everyone, may this new year bring to us the house of Israel and to all humankind life, health, reconciliation, renewal, happiness. You know, I haven't had a lot of chance to practice blowing the shofar because every time I do in my apartment, all of the dogs start barking. And I have my neighbors complaining to me, so I didn't know what to do. So I'm sorry if it's a little So this is our Shehekia. Let us bless the flow of life that revives us, sustains us, and brings us to the special time. And let's see if we, if you can't read, Hebrew is very easy to read, okay? All the KH and CH are Cha, all the G's are Ga, and all the vowels are like Spanish. So if you can handle that, you have no problem. So let's try the Hebrew. Yivarech et Magan Chayenu Shehekianu Vikimanu Vihikianu Plus. So we enter this new year. We enter this new year with hope. We enter this new year with joy. We enter this new year all with wonder, for love gives us all that we need. Where is me? Thank you. So let's continue on page 3. On Rosh Hashanah, we are called to be conscious of how we have been in the past. On one hand, we are called to be conscious of how we may be. This is what the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are for. Looking deeply at reality, at the very roots of our laws and ways. These days were called by our ancestors Yomim Noraim, the days of awe. Let us continue to celebrate these holidays to remind ourselves of the tremendous value of self-evaluation and to maintain our ties with our ancestors and some of the wonderful and meaningful traditions they have. So I think we have our reading. So Ellen Minthal is our guest singer, and she is going to be joining us with some wonderful, beautiful music. Ellen, do you want to come up here? Okay. If you don't mind.
We rise up each morning, and the earth rises too. We're weary, we rise up, and we want something new. A world where compassion falls freely as rain. Where all people can live without pain. Nothing you want to do, nothing you want to do. Oh, thank the signal I am talking. Nothing you want to do. if we open our minds of human race, of human race, God shall not come. Of human race, shall
Thank you. So I see there's someone, we have books on the table here. Oh, you have them? And by the way, if you want to clap, you can. Sometimes it's just, So let's take a moment and turn to page 4, and we have a little reading called Presence. I'll give you a couple minutes to go over that. Okay, we'll continue with for the Shema. Yeah, in Humanistic Judaism, we do have a Shema. We like Shema. So we come together today to remind one another to rest for a moment on the floating edge of our lives, to resist a headlong tumble into the next moment until we claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude. Taking time to look in one another's faces and see their communion, the reflection of our own lives, the house of laughter and silence, memory and hope is hallowed by our presence. So if we just could rise for a minute, if we can, just rise. If we can't, that's fine too. So now let us lovingly declare our age-old belief in the unity of all existence. So everyone together. Shema Yisrael, Echad Aminu, Adam Echad. Hear, O Israel, hear, all people. The universe is one. All humanity is one. Seated. When we recite the Shema, our affirmation is not complete until we say Echad. Echad means unity. But when we accept the mitzvah of Be'ahavta, you shall love. So let's read this all together. You can sit if you like for Be'ahavta. And you shall love one another with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your strength. Inscribe these words on your heart. Repeat them and teach them to your children. Teach them by night and day to prepare all life. That tikkun olam, preparing the world, is our responsibility. Teach them that they are part of the chain of life and history, so that they may treasure the ideals of their people. So I'm going to quickly read the silent reading. You know, we have this, I always thought that when you go to a regular, a traditional synagogue and they have this silent prayer, like everybody gets up and starts praying out loud anyway, so it's not silent. So we're good with that. So my heart joins with others who desire peace in the world, in crowded cities or remote farms, in humid heat and crisp cold. With one voice and with the congregation, I affirm peace. Taking a gentle breath, I experience oneness with all. I center my attention in my heart and connect with others who are focused on peace at this very moment. I utter the word peace, shalom, and I imagine it echoing in hundreds of languages, dialects, and accents. I feel the energy of peace in hearts around the globe, and I affirm peace is possible in every heart, in every situation. And the very last word of the day Hafta in traditional synagogues is emet, or in Yiddish they say emes, that means truth. What can be compared to truth? Emet, or truth, is an affirmation of the Shema. The search for truth has guided us for untold generations and is the very essence of Torah. The concept of truth is broad and all-encompassing, and we have to expand our minds in order to embrace it. Let us commit ourselves to affirming the Shema, to breadth of vision and ongoing search for truth. Let's read this evening blessing together in Ashkivenu. And while we're reading it, Ruth, you want to just kind of give us a background music for Ashkivenu, and we'll read the Ashkivenu together. May we be guided by love. Let our concern and care for each other. May we walk with good companions. May we lie down and eat ourselves with life. May these hours of rest in our hearts and truth and in our minds. And on page 6, may all who struggle find rest on this day. Everyone read everything. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose, and all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. May this day. So let's read. We have our Amidah lesson. So for the answers of both, let's read this together. We are not our ancestors. The events of history have shaped our lives. The glorious as well as the tragic have colored our view. Our ancestors' words, ideas, beliefs cannot always bring us home. For our ancestors never had a mind to change the Yet, across the span of time, the words of our ancestors reach out to us. Their words challenge, call us to action, remind us of our past, and inspire us. And for power, God, your world. The power to save our world is in our hands. Let us treat all living things with kindness and mercy. Let us support the fallen, assist in healing those who are sick. Let us seek freedom and justice and comfort to those who are. And in gratitude, may our blessings on this day of remembrance, we give thanks for life itself, for all that it sustains body and mind, for love and friendship, for the delights of our senses, and for the wisdom of our tradition, which deepens our lives and enriches us. And for the sanctity of life. In our Jewish traditions, we are taught that all life is sacred. Let us learn to love it, guard it, and cherish it, and let us pass this teaching before and more from generation to generation. And of course, shalom, peace. The word world peace is born from peace in our hearts and our houses. Let us observe our thoughts, feelings, and words, and commit to a personal growth of healing. Let us work to resolve any conflict with others through respectful, honest communication. Peace begins with us. So the Amidah is, you find it in all of the Jewish services, and it was actually written as a substitute for when the temple was destroyed and you didn't have services anymore. So the rabbis thought that we needed to have something to bring us together and to do on a regular basis. In humanistic Judaism, we believe that we pray or that we meditate or we do all these things at certain times of the day. And we believe that by doing this, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're connected with the divine source, but that we're reminding ourselves constantly what our duties are to each other, what our duties are to making the world a better place. So from the Talmud, continuing on page 7, if you make a mistake the first time, do not be concerned about it. Rather, be concerned about it if you repeat the second time. If you do something right the first time, do not pride yourself about it. Rather, be proud of yourself if you repeat it the second time. And everyone, let us have the courage to be able to see our virtues and our weakness in true life, to live our lives with greater goodness, to give more of ourselves, and to live more fully as we contribute to the prayer of God. May these precious days of introspection and renewal help us gain victory over the dark side of our nature, and to let the good that is within us assert itself more strongly in the year that is. So we're going to continue on with the Torah reflection for Rosh Hashanah. Tishri Chaya Chodesh, Hagigi Hodet HaAsif. Tishrei was a festival month, a month of ingathering, sowing, and renewal. It began on the day of the new moon, and our ancestors believed it was the day of the world's creation. Tradition relates that on this day, the patriarch Abraham saw light and spared the life of his son Isaac, and by doing so gave light to all the generations of Israel. And then everyone, in later times, Moses, who stood in Sinai, called the first of Tishrei a sacred time and said, "Set the day apart for remembering all your blessings and wonders, and give thanks with horns, lo, long blessed as the hills you set, thou The rabbis taught that in Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah will be remembered as a day of hope, the judgment, repentance, and the blowing of the ram's horn and shofar. In every year they gather and pray. And so we remember the ways of our ancestors, and we set aside this day to meditate, not for supplication and faith, but for reflection and meditation on our deeds and ways, with praiseworthy acts and truth. So that in the new year we can learn to live in our peace. So I'm going to ask, would somebody like to come up and read this Jewish learning? You could read both, read either one and read two. If someone would like to. Sure. Thank you, man.
Whoever teaches their children teaches not alone their children, but also their children's children, and so on to the end of generations. Plants could not flourish in our flat, but books did. They grew and multiplied in the dark. They were displayed, dusted, protected, and referred to with reverence. I respected them long before I could read them. In this sense, I was a privileged child. I was an heir to a tradition of love and learning, household heroes were almost exclusively people of learning, spiritual leaders, poets, musicians, philosophers. We hung their pictures in the walls along with our diplomas. My parents told us how, in the old country, when children began their religious education, their first book was strewn with raisins and almonds as a symbol of the sweetness of knowledge. In my elementary school graduation autograph book, Papa wrote in Hebrew the words, "My son, make books your companion. Let your bookshelves be your pleasure grounds and garden." I recently found the entire quotation. It was written by Judah ibn Tibon in the 12th century Spain. It continues where Papa left off with, "Pluck their roses, take their spices and myrrh. If your soul is filled to capacity with them, change from garden to garden, from furrow to furrow, from prospect to prospect, then will desire renew itself and your soul be filled with delight."
Okay, so we're gonna have another little song. So if you go in the back of your book, on page 36, we're going to sing song number 6. There's a place.
Rabbi Frank, some people are having trouble walking, perhaps if someone wants to read aloud, they can.
Okay, did everybody hear that? You can read from your work, you're allowed to read from your seat if you like. Okay, I hope that will change your mind. Thank you. Page 36, song number 6. Okay, so we'll continue on to page 9. I'll give you a couple of minutes to read over the unity reading. when we are done, we will sing as Chaim. It's on page 9, in the middle of the page. You have the Hebrew, and you have the transliteration, and also the English. So let's sing the Hebrew, and then we will read the English. Happy is the person who finds wisdom. It is a tree of life to all who hold her fast. When you go to a synagogue, you very often see this picture of a tree of life. It is a Kabbalistic symbol, and in Jewish tradition, the tree of life, time stands for the Torah. But what the Bible says is that time is wisdom is the tree. Not necessarily what's found in the book of the Torah, but it's found within us. So for humanistic Jews, any writing, any production, anything that makes life better for people and increases our understanding and knowledge is part of the tree of life as well. So I have a little message about Rosh Hashanah. So Rosh Hashanah does not mean New Year, but rather the head of it. It begins a 10-day period examining life that one has lived over the course of the past and articulating the hopes and good wishes for the year to come. After these 10 days are over, we celebrate Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. Rabbi Irving Greenberg beautifully pronounced the difference between these two holidays when he said, Rosh Hashanah is a day of judgment with mercy, and Yom Kippur is a day of mercy with judgment. How do we interpret that? Rosh Hashanah, judgment with mercy, is when we take stock of ourselves, and the judgment is our own. After some reflection, surely all of us will come up with a few instances we can think of what we could have said, what we could have and should have done better. When we miss something important, doing something that, and looking back on it, we really have made a difference. And for those things, if we have a conscience that are properly self-reflective, we are sorry. And Yom Kippur, mercy with judgment, is that's when we bring all that sorrow to concrete resolutions. We can determine to take those self-reflections, those failed and unsuccessful interactions with ourselves and with others, and make them right. As humanistic Jews, not too many of us hold with the concept of sin. We don't believe that the Torah is the be-all and end-all guide to how we should live our lives. So the traditional understanding of sin for us is a murky thing. But what we do know as humans and humanists is the concept of right and wrong. We don't need anyone to tell us that it is right to be compassionate or not to kill or steal. And maybe some of our perceptions of right or wrong different, but that doesn't really matter here. Because Rosh Hashanah is about looking back at our actions over the course of the last year, with our own conscience looking over our shoulder. In our hearts, we know that what we have done or haven't done, that we regret and wish we could change. We just know our consciousness always tells us when we've done something right or wrong. We don't really need people to explain that to us. It is a good time for a new year, and our seasons support this change. It makes sense that we should go into the new year just after the world has given birth to rights, and humans are preparing for the new. Isn't this the perfect time for us to gather all our courage, take stock of both our accomplishments and our failures, and to wipe the slate clean, to begin again, to get it all out into the light while it remains and let it go. If it feels right to self-reflect and make resolutions now, to gird ourselves with renewed strength before the dark descends, and our strength is tested in the cold. None of us likes to admit that we were wrong or that we have done harm, at least not in public. Rosh Hashanah isn't about admitting anything in public. It's about the private struggle that we have within ourselves, making things right within our own consciences. The work to make it right is what counts. We Jews are really good at this. Our liturgical year is almost a series of rites of passage that guides our souls through the seasons, making the changes within ourselves and the world, binding us together with deep faith and trust. The blowing of the shofar is something that's supposed to be transcendent. It is a tool that lets the expressions of regret, joy, longing, loss, and renewal be released into the world. The beloved Rabbi says, we each have times when there is more than we can say, when words cannot communicate the feelings we have in our heart. That is why we blow the shofar today to say what we can't possibly say. The shofar's call is not an intellectual statement. Like feelings that cannot be expressed in words, the shofar communicates a message too intense to verbalize. Within the depths of our hearts lies unlimited potential of our spirit. We are drawn to those things that soothe our soul, but words do no justice to. Let the sound of the shofar blow away all our past regrets and mistakes, and be an inspiration for us to succeed and be a force of good in the world and in the year to come. So on this Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, may we find the strength to be honest with ourselves, face our fears and failures, make amends in our hearts, think what we can do to be better people in the year to come. And let us cast away our regrets and guilt, leaving us renewed and invigorated as we enter the year. So now we'll let shofar talk with you here, kind of against the shofar. So I'm at the bottom of page 9, the call of the shofar. In the 7th month, on the first day of the month, you will have a Sabbath memorial announced with the blowing of horns. Everyone, blow the shofar at the time of morning on our solid spirit. The shofar calls the present unity. So, the call.
Tequila. Shabari. Teruah. Tequila.
Who can ignore the sounds of the shofar? Raucous and discordant lies. It ties us to our ancient past. It shocks us out of our reveries. The shofar call is both reflection and action. And with the blast of the shofar awakens us to see the world as it is, and to see ourselves as we are. It calls us to strive for a just and peaceful world. The shofar challenges us to become what we are capable of becoming. May its call not fall.
Tequila. Shabari. Tequila.
The primitive sounds of the shofar evoke strong and elemental forces, urges, and fears. This day was known among our ancestors as Yom Teruah, the day of sounding the shofar, or Yom Hadin, the day of judging. This day we call forth and listen to the voice of men. We spend the days beginning with Rosh Hashanah and ending with Yom Kippur, considering where we have been and where we are going. We recognize that our future is informed by our past, but not totally constrained by it.
Tequila. Teruah. Tequila Canola.
Okay, let's continue on the bottom of page 10. Now that we have been awakened by the sound of the shofar, let us remain vigilant throughout this coming year. Ashrei Hayam Yodei Teruah. Happy are the people who know the joyful sound. In the twilight of the vanishing year, our hearts and minds are stirred by the memory of joy as the new year begins. We are sustained by love and kindness, comfort in times of sorrow. We found happiness in our homes, gladness in our dreams. Our hearts are filled with thanksgiving for life as the new year begins. Yet there were dreams that did not come to fruition, and times where we refused to dream. These, with regret, we also remember as the new year begins. Some of our days were marked with grief, shedding of tears. We grieve for the tender ties that were broken, and we look back with sorrow as the new year begins. Now we look ahead with hope, giving thanks for the daily miracle of renewal, for the promise of good to come. May this Rosh Hashanah be our day of renewal to life and peace, serenity and safety as the new year begins. And as a new year begins, so hope is required. And we call this thing when the time tokef. This is a traditional Rosh Hashanah reading. This is a humanistic version of it. On Rosh Hashanah, we reflect. On Yom Kippur, we consider whose hunger shall be for the good, and who shall thirst for justice and right. Who shall be secure in every storm, and who shall be troubled by every passing breeze? Who shall go forth in quest of truth, and who shall be locked in prisons of selfishness? Who shall be poor in the midst of possessions, and who shall be rich content with their lives? Teshuvah, self-reflection, tefillah, self-evaluation, and tzedakah, self-correction. Starting on. So we're going to our choir is going to sing turn. And you can find that page on page 4, on number 4, page 35. Okay. So on page 12, let's go to the apples and honey. Couple of with Rosh. During Rosh Hashanah, it is traditional to put apples dipped in honey to symbolize good wishes for a sweet new year. Both apples and honey are sweet fruits. Thus they have in common. But where they differ is in their shelf life. An apple goes bad very quickly. Even after a few minutes left exposed, a slice of apple will go brown and soon be inedible. Apples need to be eaten fresh. Not so with honey. Honey does not decompose. In fact, the ancients used it as a preservative. Jars of honey were found in the pyramids of Egypt, unspoiled after thousands of years. Honey never goes bad. Apples represent our modern world, the here and the now, that fleeting moment in time that we call the present. It is fresh today, stale tomorrow. Honey, on the other hand, represents tradition, a force that is unchanging and constant, timeless and stable. Judaism is a delicate marriage of these two forces. For our Jewish life to be dynamic and alive, it must change and keep up with the times. But to have substance and meaning, it must call upon the wisdom of God's ancestors. So we have a little song now, a little Hebrew school song, Tamburello. It's on page 36. So on page 13, we come to a little section called Tashlich. Some of us might remember this. It's a little ceremony that is done on Rosh Hashanah. And it's a time for getting rid of our negativity. So we used to go down to the water, and we used to take breadcrumbs and throw it in the water, and the fish would eat the breadcrumbs. So they would say, these are our sins. The fish would eat our sins, and there you go, no more sins. We get rid of them. So how are we going to handle that in humanistic Judaism? So we figured that it's really kind of not politically correct to start polluting the waters with anything. And so what we've come up with was this idea that we can get rid of our negative thoughts in a different way. And what we have done is we have a big bowl of water, and that's at the table at the back of the room, and we have the post-it notes with pencils, and so you can take your negativity, negative trait, whatever it is you want to get rid of this year, write it on the post-it note and put it in the water will dissolve it into get rid of it that way. So after the service, if you want to feel like you want to do that, that's available for you. But on page 13 at the top, Tashmid, it says the ceremony of Tashmid, which takes place after Rosh Hashanah, typically involves visiting the big body of water and swallowing, casting off the negative energy and behaviors accumulated during this past year by throwing breadcrumbs in the water. We call to mind the words of the prophet Micah, and all our transgressions will be cast into the depths of the sea. Tashlik allows us to reflect on our behavior, to cast off behaviors that we were proud of, and to vow to be better people in the year to come. Everybody together. During this holiday season, we have the opportunity to reflect on our lives, to consider for ourselves what these actions and to think about what commitments we would like to make in the coming year as we work towards becoming better persons. This silent reading, I think I want to read this out loud. This is by Albert Einstein. Strange is our situation here on earth. Each of us comes for a short visit, not knowing why, yet sometimes seeming to divine purpose. From the standpoint of daily life, however, there's one thing we do know, that we are here for the sake of each other. Above all, for those upon whose smile and well-being our own happiness depends. And so, for the countless unknown souls with whose fate we are connected by a bond of sympathy. Many times a day I realize how much my own outer and inner life is built upon the labors of others, both living and dead, and how earnestly I must exert myself in order to give in return as much as I have received, and I am still receiving. And it's funny, I'm reading a book, and there's a quote in this book, and it's a quote by Albert Einstein too. And I was thinking about it, and it's really kind of interesting. He said, human beings have invented the nuclear bomb, but a mouse has never invented a mousetrap. I have to think about that. That's really profound. Okay, so we will sing Mishnah. Now we come to the part of the service where if someone is ailing or they want to remember someone who's ill, you can say their name and then I will sing Mishnah. So if you want to raise your hand, if you want to mention someone's name, you can as a and or just keep them in your hearts if you want. So now at the bottom of page 13, we come to the Elena of all Jewish services wind up with this Elena. Elena was actually written for the High House. And so this is a humanistic version of it. We await the day when all people will experience the fullness of life's gifts, when the despair shall disappear and destruction shall be no more. Everyone, when corruption and evil shall be when the great variety of people dwelling on the earth shall come together to repair the world. On that day we will say, Lord, one with us, you are one with us. May the visions of our dreams and the wishes of our hearts be realized in our and the commitments. We live today because our ancestors supported each other, summoned the strength to live, and refused to die. We appreciate the strength. We see the Jewish people as our family, our Jewishness as our we see high life. So we will have another song. And the song is In My Lifetime. Now, do you want to just tell them where the song is?
Yeah, and this song's from the Rothschilds, by Sheldon Irving and Julian Bach. And I actually didn't know it at all. Frank asked me to do it, and it's very timely and quite beautiful. And want to say anything about it?
Sheldon Harnick.
Sheldon Harnick.
Sheldon Harnick, the lyricist for the song, with Jerry Bach, of course, wrote the Golden Blues and Rothschild and other musicals, and they pay homage to all of our heritage and the wonderful composers who helped us reach this moment.
In my own lifetime, I want to see the fighting cease. In my own lifetime, I want to see my sons enjoy the fruits of peace. While I'm still here, I want to know beyond the doubt that no one can lock us in, will lock us out. We can fly higher, much higher than I thought we'd fly. It's a long journey, and even though the end's in sight, there's not much time. I want to know the heavens will stand in my own lifetime. In my own lifetime, I want to see our efforts blessed. In my own lifetime, I want to see the walls come down and men walk rest. This Moses wants to see the promised land. In my own lifetime.
attend to that. Thank you very much. So, just take a second to read the Kaddish. We're going to come into the Kaddish section. It's on the bottom of page 14. And then I'm going to ask everyone to name those in their heart they want to remember for Warner's Kaddish. Also, I want to take this time to just stress if you want your names of your loved ones read for Yom Kippur for the Iskor service, please make sure I get them before you leave. Or if you come for Yom Kippur, then you can tell me which I even prefer. So
you can remain to info at WCHJ.
now there's info at WCHJ. So take a second and then we'll continue with our okay, so I'm going to continue with names. If you want to say that loud, say that loud. If you want to say it in your heart, say it in your heart. This is Warner's Kaddish.
Muriel and Alice and Billy Levine.
It doesn't have to be their young son. And they don't have to be Jewish. So. So we'll continue on page 15 with the glory of life. This is a modern Kaddish. This was written by the rabbi of our congregation, former rabbi of our congregation. May the glory of life be extolled, everyone. Chaim. May the world be blessed with peace, all life hallowed by love and respect. Chaim. Let life be blessed and glorified, exalted and honored. Chaim. Though beyond praises, songs, and adorations we may utter, let life be celebrated. Chaim. For us, for all Israel, for all people, may the promise and the gift of life come true. Chaim. May peace embrace all of us, all Israel, and all the world. Chaim. May peace be granted us, we who mourn, and be a comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us stay. We have another beautiful song, another one. See, the cool thing about humanistic Judaism is that you sometimes get away from chanting. And it's nice that you have a rabbi with Broadway connections too. So we'll continue with Hayom, and we're almost done. So while we live, we should try to make each day a day as far as beauty, nobility, and a warm sense of brotherhood are concerned. In a time where there is so much cruelty abroad, we must generate the oxygen of love to keep the soul of the world still breathing. Religion should summon all of us to treasure each other in the recognition that we do not know how long we shall have each other. The crimes and sins for which there should be little forgiveness are hard-heartedness and selfishness, mutual cruelty, lawlessness, all of the little weapons used to shorten the lives of others. Our very understanding of each other and serves to deepen life even though we cannot life. And our blessing for the family. And our family is not only people related to his friends, it's everyone in the world. So we take a moment to express appreciation for our family. We are grateful for the bonds of loyalty and affection which sustain us, and for the capacity to love and to care. Everybody, let us be modest in our demands of one another, but generous in our giving to each other. May we never measure how much love and encouragement we offer. May we never count the number of times we forgive, but rather may we always be grateful that we have one another and that we are able to express our love and acts of kindness and generosity. Let us be gentle in our speech. When we offer words of criticism, may they be chosen with care and spoken softly. May we waste no opportunity to speak words of sympathy, of appreciation, and of praise. And may all in our family and all families be happy and content. And above all, may we have the good fortune to live in health, joy, and peace. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote, "Let us remember that there is a meaning beyond absurdity, that every good deed counts, that every word has power, and that we do our share to the world, and to this we say, Amen." May it be a good year for us. May it be a year of peace for all the world. May our journey continue in health, happiness, and peace together, and may we have the strength to make it so. Shana Tova. We will sing Aseh Shalom. It's in our booklet in the back. Number 7 on page 8. So, Shana Tova, everyone. We have our Kiddush, so if you.
We have our announcements and then speak to you.
Yeah, well, okay, we'll do that first. We have announcements. That was the Shana Tova.
Sorry, I'll make it quick. Thank you all for coming. My name is Dmitry Tulovsky, I'm the president of this congregation. I just wanted to invite you to our Yom Kippur service, which is going to be on Sunday, the 24th of September at 6 p.m. And on the 7th of October, we'll have a joint supported Simchat Torah celebration at 2 p.m. It's going to be on Saturday, October the 7th. Later the same month, we are going to have Nina Gordon back, the singer performer who's going to do a concert of Yiddish songs. And early November, we'll have a piano recital by Peggy Reich, who's going to do Jewish reflections on music, part 2. She's done a similar program for us in the past, and she's going to do a different, perform different pieces this time. And to learn more about our congregation and some kind of events, please visit our website at WCHJ.org. Thank you very much.
Shana Tova.
Now, this is also not very painful. We start with peace be with you, then we go to joy be with you, then we go to love be with you, and finally shalom aleichem. So I'm sure you can all follow those directions.
Peace be with you, wherever you go. Peace be with you, wherever you go. Peace be with you, peace be with you, joy be with you, wherever you go. Joy be with you, wherever you go. Joy be with you, joy be with you, my friend. Joy be with you, wherever you go. Joy be with you, wherever you go. Joy be with you, joy be with you.
Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem.
So we're gonna have Kiddush now. So if you would like to come up and join me, we have some wine, we have grape juice. Which is which, Dimitri? Which is the wine? This is the wine, that's grape juice. Yeah, this is wine, this is grape juice. If you want challah, I know people don't want to cut the touch the challah, so I'll cover it, and I'll cut it, and then you can take a little piece of it. So come, please.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you, Liz, yes. And thank you, Ellen. And thank you, Ellen.
Is this the wine?
That's wine, that's true. Yeah. This is my big problem is that I always forget all the little rabbi things. Thank everybody. So everyone, and thank all you guys. So the Kiddush for Rosh Hashanah. Okay, let's go. Kiddush for Rosh Hashanah. Tonight we welcome the new year. It beckons us. Take off.
Which is the grape juice again?
That's great.
Yeah,
that's
what I-
wine.
That's great, that's wine. Okay.
I know I drove to, I had to go to 73rd Street to get no non-alcoholic. That there. Yes. This is wine, this is grape juice.
That's great, that's fine. Can I get you? I'm gonna have this.